everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how I make this Ganesha. So I've been making clay Ganeshas for about the past 4 years, and in my adventure with making this, I have gathered some tips and tricks that I think could help you guys with making your clay Ganeshas. So first of all, I just want to go through quickly some of my favorite supplies. So first I use this Crayola air dry clay in the color terracotta, and it looks like that. And so I really like this clay because it has a very airy texture, and also it is really easy to paint, and it's also environmentally friendly. And I like the color terracotta because you don't need to paint the skin color of the Ganesha. You can also get this exact same clay in the color white, so you could paint the Ganesha however you want to, but I prefer this because it sort of gives you a base tone that you can sort of work from there. So next, some of the supplies that I like to use. I like to use, some of the more simple supplies are this knife and this paintbrush. And I really like using these because the knife has sort of a perforated edge, and it gives you like some nice texture, as you can see right there, or you can't see, but it gives you some nice texture. And this paintbrush is good for the opposite, getting rid of texture, and that's what I've been using currently to smooth out this. So also what I use are dowels and toothpicks, and I do use toothpicks to sort of like carve stuff out, but I also use the dowel and the toothpick to sort of create like a backbone for the Ganesha. And I feel like if you add sort of like a skeleton per se in the Ganesha, it makes it stand up better, and it reduces the risk of it sort of falling front or falling back, which is why I like to use dowels and toothpicks. So I do put a toothpick like this so that the ears would stick on, and then I do put a dowel down there, and then I secure all the limbs with a toothpick as well. So that's basically what I use a dowel and a toothpick for. So next I like to use this knife, which is sort of like that knife, but without the perforated edge. It's a very smooth knife, and they're really messy because I've been using them, and this one I like it because this is something I use to smooth stuff out, and this is good for sort of carving out shapes. So with that, I like to keep a couple of paper towels with me for just to sort of like wipe my hands if I want to get some of the gunk off of my fingers, and a bowl of water, which you can see there are many uses for. And I also like to wear a t-shirt that I don't really care about because this process does get like really messy. And I also have covered this in craft paper, the table in craft paper, in order to ensure that the table doesn't get stained either. I also like to keep a computer open with my reference image that I'm using, so that I can sort of see what my next steps are. With that, let's get into some of the techniques I use. So the first one is a method of sticking two pieces together. So right now I have these two pieces, and if you were to just stick them together like that, like let's say you wanted to have like coins stacked or something, so you can't like squish them down into each other. So if you stick them like that, when it dried, it would just fall off like that. So the method that I like to use is I like to scratch in both of the sides of this on each coin. And I like to use this thing called slip, which is super easy to make. I have some right here. What you do is you take some clay and you take some water, and you take like a tool such as this, or you can use your knife if you don't have one of these, and you just sort of mix in the water, and think like how ice cream makers sort of fold in like Oreos and stuff. That's sort of the process that I do to make this slip. I incorporate water and clay so that I have like this icing-like texture. So I put some of this on the clay, and it sort of serves as a glue, and then these two, they stick together like Velcro, and whenever it dries, it does not break apart. And also, your most important tool when working with clay is obviously your hands. So these are the things that I do. So with my thumb, I like to flatten stuff out. So for example, like the feet and the hand, I like to use my thumb to flatten stuff out. And as my clay sort of dries up, I like to brush on some water to make it malleable still. So that's basically what I use my thumbs for, just flattening stuff out. And I use my pointer fingers for stuff like the eye indents, like that. And also, your ring finger is your weakest finger. So if you have like some light detail, sort of like if you want to focus on like the curvature of the ear, or you want to focus on sort of like the tip of the nose, I recommend using this finger because it's the weakest and it's the easiest to use. So yeah. Also, I have this. I just stacked a couple of boxes of like chocolates, and I covered them in masking tape. And masking tape is basically like a weaker painter's tape, which comes off easily. And I love using masking tape for this because it comes off easily, and it's a nice. I just like the color of it. So I tend to use masking tape when covering my surfaces as well as to make the base of the box. And yeah. Do you have any questions? You can edit this part out.
Okay.